So I'm here with Lucella Campbell, Senior Program Advisor at IPPF WHR. She's been with IPPF for over 20 years and working with our member association in Haiti, Profamil, for 7 years. So can you tell us a little bit about how this organization became involved with working on gender-based violence?
Well, actually, I think we owe that to the earthquake, because before that, Profamil, I guess you would say that they did provide education in around issues related to gender, but in terms of a full-scale program of providing services, that was really triggered after the earthquake, because it just seemed that the level of need was really quite high, given the situation of insecurity, given the situation of people being thrown together, strangers thrown together, which wasn't the norm in Haiti before. And given the vulnerability of girls under those conditions, it became obvious that Profamil, as a sexual reproductive health organization, needed to step in and provide that service, which was a service that was not being provided by organizations generally across Haiti. So that was their introduction.
Okay. And how soon after the earthquake was there a turning point or a key moment where they realized?
There was so much to be done immediately after the earthquake. They just moved into providing basic health services, but I would say after a few months, maybe after 3-4 months, they recognized the need for them to have some input in that area.
Okay. How has their work evolved since they first became involved with GBV?
Well, I have to say it's slow progression.
Right.
It's a whole new area for the organization, and they've been trying to recreate themselves on several levels. I mean, they lost 2 of their 3 clinics, so they had to reconstruct all of their systems, their programs, recruit new staff. They had to address the situation in Haiti, which really required just basic health services. So that was a slow start moving into the GBV area, because that's an area that's new for them. So I don't think we've reached the level that we would have wanted to reach. But now that things are more settled, I think they can pay more attention to that area. The initial thing is that, of course, staff had to be trained, because they're moving into new territory. And then there's training at different levels, training both in terms of just a basic sensitization and training of their providers. So I think we've just provided the basic training of staff. The providers received initial training maybe 4 months after the earthquake, so they were able to provide some basic services. But then the other piece that's missing still, and that still needs to be put in place, is that Profamil needs to be associated with providing that service. That requires a tremendous amount of education, sensitization, referrals in the community, and that's been a slow process. So they probably counsel about, and I would be averaging here, maybe about 15 cases of GBV a month. And that can be heightened because women don't really present. I think there's still a stigma, a sense of shame around that doesn't allow the woman to readily present in a clinic situation.
What was that training process like, or where did the training come from?
Well, the training was provided initially by the IRC. And then with that sensitization, some of their trainers have also been doing the wider sensitization of staff, and we are about to collaborate with UNICEF to do some expanded training in that area.
Great. And can you talk to us a little bit about specifically what the GBV program offers?
Okay, when we talk about GBV, I think even though we've been talking quite a bit about rape, we need to make a separation, because rape is just one part of GBV, and GBV is much, much wider than that, because it doesn't always involve rape. So Profamil deals with GBV, domestic violence, on several levels. One, it's the preparation of the staff to receive the person, and then there's screening, and Profamil has now put in place a situation where all of their their clients, where staff are encouraged to screen all of their clients on an ongoing basis, because a one-time thing does not catch the incidence of GBV across the board. So there's screening, there's sensitization in terms of reception, there's screening, there's in the instance of a rape or somebody being victimized in that way, then there's the clinical services, and then there's the community outreach piece, which is the wider education and sensitization of the community.
Okay.
And sensitizing, the two genders to the importance of the ramifications of gender-based violence.
What is the first step that the staff would take if someone comes in that has experienced violence?
Well, I think it's the whole thing of attitude,
right,
and that initial contact and being sensitive to the person's situation. And I think Profamil has also had to be sensitive to the fact of not having to move around that person too much, because they're already dealing with a very traumatic kind of situation. So keeping that contained to as few providers as possible. And then the next piece would be the screening, and then the referral to whatever other services that they need.
Okay. Thanks.
But the counseling piece, I think, naturally is a large part of that.
How would you say the GBV program is impacting the community? Do you have any stories about people that have gone there?
I'm not that close to it, but I know that we recently wrote a couple of case studies, and the women talk about what a difference it's made to be able to know that there's a place that they can go and talk. There aren't that many places that women can go to just to talk about their situation and their experience. So I think just the fact of having a place where they can be counseled and where they can feel free, and there's a confidential service where they can open up about this is something that's made a difference to them, and we've heard that. And also, Profamil has been going out into communities quite a bit more and focusing on the issue of gender, and having men and women express their positions on it, having men understand what the ramifications of their behavior are. Those men that have the attitudes that think that women are, property and can be dealt with in whatever way they wish. Having that come out and having that discussed, and having the forum for that, I think has made a difference. I've sat in on a couple of those, and we've seen the back and forth discussions between the women, where the women, they really learn to stand up for their rights, and the men learn to hear them in a different way. I think having that happen in the communities at this time is extremely important.
Yeah. What would you say the program needs in order to have an even greater impact, besides time, I guess?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I think time, and just the need for that much more resources within the organization to be able to do the promotions that's necessary, and to have the number of staff to be out there addressing the issue. And all of that takes funding, because the challenge right now in Profamil, more than anything else maybe, might be the fact that in 2010 we expanded the program because there was such a tremendous level of support. And now we are in a situation where there's almost no support from donors. So they're having to rely on their core grant from IPPF and the very little money that they can make from services, because whereas before they could have charged for their services, that's much more limited now in a context where people are that much more impoverished. So being strapped by funding is something that just breaks all of our hearts.
Is there anything else you'd like to share that's important?
I think, we've heard a whole lot about the incidence of rape in Haiti, and that is real. I mean, we have kids now who are parentless. We have the situation of overcrowding. We have strangers living together. And in that kind of situation, you have predators, and predators will do what predators do. Right. But alongside that, I just really want to underscore that there's still in Haiti that feeling of communality that allows people to take care of each other. So it's a bit of a a contradiction, or maybe that's the reality of life, that
Yeah.
alongside that situation you have both things operating,
Right.
and we just can only hope that one takes over,
Yeah.
in terms of the communality, and that the lack of consideration among the predator men is something that can be reduced. Because it just makes all the difference in Haiti right now where they want to go when if we can have the two genders come together,
Right.
and really create the kind of force that's needed to make Haiti go forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.